So what everybody's, hear what I said?
Sorry.
Just finished something on my mom and dad's.
So good afternoon.
What's first up? Wow.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The first item that we have on your work session this afternoon is an update on our neighborhood improvement bond or infrastructure bond.
Good news.
We always say neighborhood improvement, but it's neighborhood infrastructure bond. And I think that what we really wanted to do today was to talk about all of the projects that have been completed under this bond and to highlight those as we start to close out a lot of the projects. And then we will also move into, after this, a conversation on the pedestrian safety action plan. One of the things that we think that sometimes is we do a lot of these projects and we're doing so many of these projects that it's easy to overlook them. And we want to make sure that we're sharing those with our community. Because at the end of the day, we think that people care a lot about infrastructure. And so we are excited to share this today about some of the things that we've been doing. So with that, Brandon, are you gonna kind of kick us off? Do you want to say anything before we turn it over to Jeff and Clint?
Not much.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah, Jeff here.
Okay,
Our
so
project manager.
as we move into our neighborhood infrastructure bond project update,
No.
thank you, Brandon, for allowing us the moment of levity today. That's great. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to Jeff Waters, who is our capital projects director for the city. So Jeff?
All right, thank you. I'm gonna start kicking off by talking about some of the core projects and park projects that are covered under the NID. And the first one that my team completed was Gower Park back in April of 2024. And the project delivered two full court basketball courts, 3 tennis courts, 10 dedicated pickleball courts, 3 shade structures, new court lighting for all the courts. We also repaved Evelyn and restriped the parking associated with Evelyn Avenue. And this project had $970,000 in NIP funding and was also leveraged with a $500,000 LWCF grant. Really popular amenity in Gower Park for our pickleball community and tennis and basketball. Then last March, we also completed McPherson Park, another court project, using $272,000 of NIP funding. And this one demoed out the old tennis courts, repaved, new fencing, and new court lighting.
And had backboards. A lot of compliments on that. Thank you.
And you all remember this from just a few months ago, back in June of 2025, we cut the ribbon on the Cleveland Park improvements, more courts, 1 full court basketball court, 6 tennis, 2 pickleball. We also improved the small parking lot and added some parallel parking spaces on the road frontage, new court lighting, new water fountain, and we also improved the trail connectivity with that super wide sidewalk in front of the courts that ties into the trails along the hillside there. And this was $1.5 million in NIP funding.
Is Ken in all these pictures?
Look at that, so.
My serve was wide and long.
And your receiver of serve was grateful for that.
One more court project to share is Holmes Park. This is a combo project, so we did replace and repair the existing tennis courts. We're also replacing the large picnic shelter in Holmes Park. And the parking lot was also repaved and restriped. And this was $170,000 for the parking lot and then $340,000 for the courts and the shelter. Everything is complete except for the shelter. Working on that now. We expect it to be done end of December, 1st of January. And then that will conclude my team's park projects. And then last, but definitely not least, is Nicholtown Community Center. This is a $1.8 million NIP contribution, and you can see at the bottom a lot of other funding sources allowing us to deliver this project. We have $3 million from the state, $40,000 from the Bon Secours Wellness Arena for the team lounge, then $100,000 Municipal Association of South Carolina for the Big Idea Grants, which is supporting the resiliency hub component of Nicholtown. And the improvements are dedicated staff offices and dedicated staff restrooms, a big ask for our team that works that facility. The multipurpose room has been enlarged to 2,000 total square feet. We're also providing large and small meeting rooms, the team lounge, catering kitchen, fitness room, outdoor walking path, improvements to the basketball court. And then what we think is the state, definitely the upstate, but also the state of South Carolina's first resiliency hub and right here in Greenville and in Nicholtown. So we're really excited about this. We expect this project to be completed in the spring.
Would you explain the resiliency hub a little
So-
bit deeper?
Yeah, sure. So day to day is our community center. That when there's an emergency event, it can spool up to provide neighborhood resources. So it can provide charging stations when the power's out. We can have some heating centers, cooling centers when it's hot or cold. It serves as a neighborhood center for the folks that live in Nicholtown to get resources and information instead of having to go elsewhere outside the community. And so we're really excited to provide it.
But anyone can come there.
Anyone
They
can
don't have to
They
live in
don't have to live in
Nicholson.
Nicholtown.
Okay.
That is, well, let me get one more. So this is my list of 9 slides, and if you do the math, that's around $6 million in NIB funding. And we have 2 that are working on now. That's David Helms Community Center court replacement, and then Cleveland Park, the zoo shelters, walkway, and the playground are upcoming projects that will get underway in 2026.
Thank you, Jeff, very much. So before we move on to our engineering team, are there any questions for Jeff concerning any of our PRT projects that he's been working on? Or
Just great
some-
progress, and it's just hard to put into words, quality of our recreational activities now and facilities is night and day difference from 10 years ago.
We're gonna have to get a lot done in a
We
couple
have
of years.
really upped our game on everything.
Well, and Knox, think back to the track plan back 20 years ago and how the newspapers reported how horrible our recreational facilities were and how they were in such deteriorating state. So we've come a long way.
Really have. It's great quality is the word, everything y'all done. It's just, I appreciate that.
We've been busy the last several years with our NIB projects.
What's the plan for expanding the resiliency center idea to other places?
I think we want to get this one implemented, and then if we think that it's a good model, we could look at other community centers for additional resiliency hubs in the future.
Okay.
And I think that would be the plan.
Mhm. It's included it's gonna be included in our update, comp plan update, right?
Yes, it's part of our, yeah, that's right, because we're focused on sustainability and resiliency, which is an element that was added by the state as a required element for comp plans after we passed Greenville 2040. So that's the focus of one of the many, that one is. a
But it's
focus.
getting mentioned it will be mentioned in our update.
Yes, there would be no reason not to
Not
make
right.
sure that it was in there.
Is it part of our disaster mitigation plan right now?
No, not currently, but it will be once we have it in place.
Okay.
Mhm.
Other questions for Jeff?
Great job.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, all right. Clint, you want to come in and introduce your team members that are going to be talking, talking about the engineering projects today?
I'll ask them to come on up and have a seat up here, so I'll give you a presentation. So, yeah.
No one's moving for a second.
Like you.
Welcome, Nick, Valerie, and Eddie. Good to see all y'all.
Yeah, so pleasure to give you an update today on the neighborhood infrastructure bond. The engineering projects did comprise a pretty large portion of the NIB. And we've kind of had that broken out into roadways and traffic management, sidewalks, roads, traffic management, and sidewalks. So, Eddie Littleton, Valerie Holmes, Nick DePalma, they have been handling, these projects for the city, them and their teams. And, I thought it would only be right for them to kind of present their projects and do the update. They have been putting in a lot of hard work over the last 3.5 years. We're a little over 3.5 years in since the NIB was approved. And has been a lot of work's been done. Just for the engineering projects alone, we've done about $50 million worth of projects. When you take the NIB plus some of the other funds, we were able to, the grants and other funds, we were able to use the NIB funds to leverage against. So Nick's gonna talk a little bit about that. So it's just been a lot of work. It's been a great project. Considering none of these projects were shovel ready when we started, it was a lot of work just to ramp up and get the construction going. So there's some projects like resurfacing that we can mobilize and get that going very quickly. Other construction projects, roadway intersection projects or roadway projects, sidewalk projects that were not shovel ready on the shelf, took some time to get the engineering done. So you'll see as we do our summary slides, a lot of these projects are complete already, and we're in the construction phase on the ones that aren't complete. So we're excited about that. We've made great progress, and pleasure to give you a little update here. So I think Nick's going to take it from here and walk us through the project.
Yeah, so I'm particularly excited about this one because I don't know if everybody remembers, but I was one of the ones on the team that initially presented that state of the infrastructure presentation many years ago that kind of paved the way to us going into the NIP. So I feel like I've kind of been a part of this from day one, and so it's been really neat to see this kind of grow and what it's become. And one of the big things that we were able to do that I think, you know, our team's pretty proud of is obviously it was a huge contribution from the NIB, 28.7 million for roads and traffic and sidewalks, but we wanted to look and see what else can we do with that money? How can we leverage that for more? So between GLDTC and GPATS, we actually were able to get 16.4 million in matching on top of that, 28.7. So we were able to take that money and take it even further. And I think that was a huge win for everybody. It allowed us to get a lot more done with our dollars. Another big thing to point out is we were able to look at our existing programs. Instead, we ended up getting a CDBG loan, and that only helped us get even more sidewalks done with this process. So we realized we were getting a lot of work all at once. It ended up being 37 total projects, and we're in the final stages of a lot of them, but we finished 26 of them. So in 3 short years, we managed to get designs going, get the projects out on the road and get them done. So we're moving fast, but it's been a really fun process. So this is just a quick summary of some of the roadway projects that we were working on, and my team, Dakota and Greg, are here. They've been working very hard on a lot of these and making sure that they get them out the door. The ones that I want to highlight that are not done yet, the 2 main ones would be resurfacing, which we just actually got additional matching dollars a few months ago. So that's why that one's going to take a little bit longer. We're hoping to start construction on that next fall, but getting those last bit of matching dollars.
Is that C-Fund matching or?
It is. So we were trying to wait for that last little bit of matching dollars before we wrapped up resurfacing. And then bridge maintenance. The Willard Street Bridge replacement is the piece that we've all been waiting on, and it was ready to go, obviously last October, but Hurricane Helene had other ideas and knocked out the Hudson Bridge, which was our detour route for the Willard Street Bridge. So delayed us a little bit, but Hudson Bridge is actually making good progress now. It'll probably be open here in the next few months, and we'll be able to get started on Willard Street. So
It's Hudson, just for clarification, Hudson Street Bridge is a SCDOT project. It is not in the NIB. It
correct.
is merely a delay for us getting the Willow Street project.
And so then we just wanted to show highlights of, you know, what did this money help us accomplish on a broad range? And looking at it, it's 25 miles of road paved in the last 3 years. Normally we're, you know, on a typical year, we're getting 1 or 2 miles paved. So to pave that many miles of road in just a short 3-year span was huge for us. ADA ramps and high visibility crosswalks. So you'll see later as this plays into the pedestrian safety action plan and all these projects tie together. Ped safety has been a huge part of this. So when we're doing these projects, our team doesn't just work in isolation. We work with Jess Group, with Kaylin. What projects do you have on the horizon? Is there a bike project in the area? How can we leverage our project with yours and really make this come together for the whole community in a multimodal standpoint? traffic calming. So we're able to implement traffic calming pieces on this. If you look at the Mohawk Streetscape, there's a new speed table at that intersection. I mentioned 8 miles of new bike lanes. But on top of that, 21 miles of enhanced bike lanes. So that might be we're paving a road and we're able to, add in some protection or some extra buffers between the bike riders and the vehicles. And then obviously 7 miles of new sidewalks. So that's, Eddie, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what's the going rate year of what we typically?
Well, we used to do about a mile, now we're down to about a half mile with funding or a little less.
Right, so that's
Does
about-
that mean like 1 million gets you half a mile now?
Yeah, not even quite a half mile.
Wow.
So that's the equivalent of 14 years worth of sidewalks done in the last 3, that Eddie's been able to do, so. And then just a few pictures, so this is actually the Pendleton Road Diet, which had some NIB and had some state funds, but it goes to show what we can do when we are able to take a corridor, take a project and look at it holistically. How can we make this better for drivers, bike riders, pedestrians, all of it, all at once? And this project's, it's still not quite done, but it's come together quite beautifully. And I think if you look at the road, you look at the aerials today versus what it looked like 2 years ago, it's night and day, and it's just an incredible project.
What's the commentary, Clint, from state DOT, Pendleton's plastic cage? We talked about that for years, but the answer was always no, you can't do it. Finally, we got the approval. What's your kind of big picture in terms of our ability to do this in the future? Other places.
Feel really good about it. In fact, on the agenda tonight, Pendleton Street's on our list for taking over from SCDOT. So obviously, we take roads from DOT, it improves our chances of being able to do projects like this. But DOT's been very receptive to our project ideas and, requires us to go through a process with them. They were involved in our West End neighborhood master plan, a small area plan that was done where this project, Pendleton, was identified. So that was helpful as well.
I think that the 2 projects that we're talking about, pet safety and NIB, one of the better parts was the SCDOT. So Brandon and Joel and their team is involved on all of our planning processes up front. And in getting them involved up front allows them to be a part of the team. So we're not just coming to them with projects we want to do. They're on the upfront of the ideas and the master planning behind those projects. So it really helps us kind of work as a team to get a lot of these done. A few of these, I know I kind of jumped the gun and updated you on a few of these, but Mohawk and West Antrim are 2 projects were recently completed. So we wanted to point out if you haven't had a chance to go by either of those. Those are 2 really good projects that we just recently finished. And here's some pictures of Antrim and it's done. That's actually an 8-foot sidewalk. So this is one of those pieces where Greenacre has some bike lanes and, eventually we're gonna hopefully have this connection piece between that neighborhood and going down Lawrence and getting to the Swan Private Trail. So it's a good project in its own. There's lots of people using the sidewalk, but it's also a small piece of a larger puzzle that will come together later on. That's Eddie.
Awesome.
Well, it's kind of hard to follow up from everything he said. And I'm probably going to repeat, and duplicate a few things. This is a summary of all the sidewalk projects that have either been completed or they're in construction. So with all the additional funding that we had in the MID, the C fund money, special emphasis money and some instep money, we're gonna have completed like on dead on around $17.5 million worth of new sidewalks. And that's 7 new miles of sidewalk. Everything is turning out really, really good. Real pleased with how everything's looking. You can see from the list, we've got them scattered all over town. We've got, I think we've hit about 5 special emphasis neighborhoods. We've hit like the southern side, West Greenville, Pleasant Ridge. I'm drawing blank now. Nickeltown, and then, what's the,
West Greenville.
well, no, the area that Keith and Lowndes.
Overbrook.
So we've hit that, and there ain't been one more. So anyway, we've hit a lot. We're slowly getting them done. You can see like the Mohawk Streetscape project was all being together with our sidewalk project. So we've got Streetscape, we've basically got the Mohawk sidewalk done. We're working on Chick Springs and we're just slowly moving down the list. I think, one that's, the same construction, you'll see a picture is we've got Clark and Webster. I wanted to mention that one because Clark Street has been in the works for at least about 7 or 8 years. It has taken us a long time and we're finally in construction. And so,
And it's blocked, isn't it now?
well,
Eddie,
we did have to block it for a little bit, but right now it's just one lane.
it's one
just
lane,
for
we got one
complete-
lane open?
Yeah,
Okay.
got one lane. So we had to dig some deep trenches and we were really concerned with the car driving real close to the new trenches. But we got it back to one lane right now. The one that, also, I'm excited about all of it, the Lowndes Hill project, we're doing approximately over a mile of new sidewalk. That one's just taking us a while because of the federal funds that have been involved. We finally got the agreement between the state and the city worked out. We're working on the NEPA study now, and we're hoping by springtime, we can bid it out and be in construction sometime in the spring or something. It's just, it'll take a little bit longer than we wanted, but
Well,
We
that's
have
it.
right of ways agreements on all that?
we've got 5 homes that we need a public access easement from. They have all verbally agreed, but we cannot secure that until we get the NEPA
The
study.
NEPA study, okay.
It's a great team and 2 great district representatives
go.
right there.
Go, buddy.
And that is one, I've been at the city for quite a long time now, and I used to get calls about every 3 or 4 months from somebody in the neighborhood asking about sidewalks. And we always had the bad news, it looks like it's gonna be a long time, so they're getting it, I think they're.
Yeah, I can tell you that they're very excited about seeing something starting to be built.
They probably won't be happy for a few months while it's getting done, but we'll work through that.
Just that, I mean, that part with the intersection, I mean, that in and of itself was a lot.
Oh, it looks great. We
Yeah,
had a
it does.
great contract slew that did that, and we're hoping that they can do some more sidewalk work for us.
Yeah.
They've done a lot in the past, but they do great work.
Yeah, great job on that.
Nick, I guess it's this button here,
Yeah.
So, we kind of updated a lot of it. Henderson, Wembley, it was completed under budget. And that's another thing. Every project that's been completed so far has been under bid. Whether 10 or 15 or 20,000, up to about 200, they've been under bid. So we're tickled to death for that.
Why was that one so far under budget? Or was it not relative speaking?
Nick, can you mention that? I don't.
So, I'll actually give some kudos to Dakota, back here. So she managed that project. And there was just some savings in what they were able to do, some of the stormwater and some of the other pieces that kind of came together. The traffic control wasn't as extensive as they thought it was going to be. So there was a few assumptions that the contractor made with, Bill bringing in extra dirt that they ended up not having to do. And, she came up with some good solutions for them and got it in the budget.
I think bids came in slightly under what we were asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think bids were about 75 or so of that,
Oh, okay.
of it being underbid, and the rest was project saved.
And this was, Henderson Wembley is one of the projects with CFA money that Co-Transco has managed, the bidding of it.
And so that was dollar for dollar match, so
Yeah.
half of the money that was spent on that was also matching funds, so.
Mohawk Chick Springs, I said anticipated to be completed by spring. I hope a little sooner, but, all we have left basically is the Chick Springs piece from
Looks
Logan
good.
to Mohawk.
Yeah, that's good.
That's coming along. Long Hill, Potomac, Pleasant Ridge, that was actually, most of that was in the Pleasant Ridge Special Interest Neighborhood. That was actually a NIA project. It was completed. We've been done several months on that one. It turned out great. Now we got, all these are NIA projects. So we just talked about the Lowndes Hill Hillside intersection. We got Lowndes Hill Road coming up. Hopefully bid out in spring, maybe in construction. Then we got Keith Drive and also the little piece of Lowndes Hill, which is separate from the one we got TAP fund, which is on the east side of Keith from there northwestward. That will all be managed and bid by Co-Transco. And we're under construction with Webster and Clark. So that is gonna be a great project there.
Eddie, once you get past the Clark Street section, will it start to move a little faster along Webster, do you think?
Oh, yes.
I mean, that looks more doable.
That piece of Clark, we had to do some deep pipe, there was some gas lines we were having to miss, a lot of stuff like that. Once we can get the pipe in, we had everything GPR, so we really tried to do our due diligence, and some of it was not. It was missed, we found out in the field. But once we get through that, it'll start moving really
Okay.
fast. Now, this is special emphasis sidewalk projects. We finished Traction and Cook, over 3,000 linear feet of new sidewalk. We also had the special emphasis section, which was the other section of Long Hill in Phoenix, which was around 3,700 linear feet. And we actually have, was bid out, our Rebecca Street, I think it was advertised this past weekend for Rebecca Street in Alameda.
Are we good on rights of way on that?
We are good on the rights of way. We have
Outstanding.
no issues on that.
Outstanding.
Fantastic. So we, hopefully with it being bid out now, holidays coming up, get a contract by late winter or by March, we should be in construction. We're back in Alameda. So you're gonna be able to walk from Lawrence Road down Webster, up Clark, and all the way down Alameda to East Parish, or you can get up Rebecca to the community center. So it is like, I don't know the exact amount, but it's around 5 to 6 million that's sidewalks is done in that area. It's gonna be great.
Good disconnect area.
So, and that, I believe, is the end of my section.
Your pictures are really beautiful, but sadly enough, they don't show the people enjoying the sidewalk. Just like traffic calming, all of us on council are so much aware that every sidewalk didn't have by accident. Somebody, there's somebody in the neighborhood.
I'm gonna blame that on the picture thing.
No.
They're still wet.
You mentioned the calls you've had, but that's the true story that behind every sidewalk. He's been, talking about this for a long time, so it's just a great thing for the neighborhoods and for the leadership of the neighborhoods.
Every single project we've done, promise, I've had at least one phone call wanting sidewalk on that area, and most of them are in the dozens. So that's the honest
Yeah.
truth.
Big deal for all of you.
Thank you, Eddie. Okay, Valerie.
Okay, well, we're finally here. As Nick has mentioned, it's been a long 3 years, but when we started this, the TNC wasn't even, it was only concept. We didn't yet have the location picked out until Halton Road was decided on. We officially moved into our traffic management center September 3rd of last year. And so we were just in our infancy. We're just over a year into that. And I know I've covered all of our devices that we purchased with the NIB, but I just want to say that this really laid the foundation for what we are able to accomplish now. I mean, we had, and these are the numbers of devices that were only purchased by the NIB. It's not the total number that we have in the field. We've been able to leverage DOT funding. So really, the Bluetooth devices, we actually have 117 in the field. We have about 60 to 61 video monitoring cameras. Detection, we're expanding. We did buy all 160 battery backup systems with our NIB funding, plus our 210 emergency vehicle preemption systems. What these components have done, and doing all of our programming, I think, all where we've done all of our programming in-house. We have not had to farm this out. Dante Gutierrez is my traffic operations manager. He has been fantastic. A programming whiz. He has been able to take all of these components of our ITS system and really put it together, as you can see on the video wall, to dive very deeply into what is going on with traffic. And as we identify areas that need our attention, we can push timing out to address that concern on the spot. And we could not have done it without any of this. It has been, in my opinion, traffic's, and I think the city's, one of their greatest success stories. I have to say.
Tell them where Dante was recruited from, Valerie.
Dante was actually recruited from Miami-Dade County. He
I'm
worked,
sorry. I only say it because he came, Shannon's doing this to me.
It's on the agenda.
No, I think he came with the expertise
He
of
did.
managing in a much larger city
He did.
with this kind of technology, and this was a new endeavor for everybody.
Everybody, absolutely. So his experience, Miami-Dade County has over 3,000 traffic signals in the county alone. He was responsible for approximately 10% of those. So his area of expertise is somewhat comparable to what the city has. We're a little bit fewer signals than that. But what I feel like the difference is he was given the freedom to customize this TMC to what the city needed. And I can't speak highly enough about his efforts, David Harding's efforts. I have a fantastic team, and I am extraordinarily proud of what we've accomplished with this. So,
All right.
one more slide. Real
Okay.
quick. I'm sorry, 2 more slides. This is our current effort right now, the emergency vehicle preemption system. We have installed all 210 units throughout the city. We're in the process of testing. We have to do in-cabinet testing known as button testing, and then we also have to do what's called drive testing. We have to make sure we're out there driving and that all of our detection zones are correctly configured. So we expect that to be completed, and we're hoping that the fire department can flip on their EVP in vehicle, and we start working first quarter of next year. So this is the summary of all of our MIB investments, approximately $4.2 million. I think the last piece that I'm really looking to do is for our uninterruptible power supply, battery backups. We still have a number of signals that the actual traffic cabinet itself is too small physically to accommodate a BBS system. So I'd like to focus on upgrading those as we progress. But obviously my goal is 100%.
All right. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Eddie and Nick also. Okay, we have maybe 2 minutes for questions or comments. Yes, Councilmember Brazington.
Thank you. Hey, everything in this presentation is great. It's certainly worth knowing about and worth celebrating. I want to just particularly at risk of seeming like the sidewalk work and the courts and the park work is not exceptional, because it is. I want to point out the TMC, and especially with our media partners here, internal media as well as external. I still wonder how many people in the public in the city of Greenville know this exists, really understand what it's there to do. I think they would be really excited to learn about it, if not absolutely blown away, because I've known about it for years. But when I stuck my head in there just a couple of weeks ago, really had my eyes open about its capabilities and its sophistication. So this is just a plug or a little story coverage. I'll meet you there in spring for coffee or lunch and be happy to tell you on the record how great it is. But this comes from a guy representing the city that like 8 out of 10 of my calls from folks have to do about traffic and what are you going to do to improve traffic and traffic related concerns. So this is big boy and big girl stuff. I mean, this is really cool stuff going on out of Halton Road for the whole city's benefit.
It's pretty amazing, and we've been hosting a lot of people there recently. But the thing that I think is one of the things that the team did that I don't know a lot of people really know about was leading up to Church Street Bridge, the closures, was all of the things that Valerie and the team did, Dante, Marcus, the whole team did, was to retime the lights around that area to ensure that we were ready for that closure. And we really, I think, thought that closure might be the worst day that ever happened to the city of Greenville, and it really wasn't. And so it was, we kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, but the shoe never did drop. And I think a lot of it has to do with the work of our engineering team and what went into that to prepare for that closure.
And by the way, on a closing note, we had a little impromptu family movie night last week, and we watched The Italian Job, like the newer version. And all I could think about was whether or not we could pull off a heist like that in St. Louis.
Well, we don't want anybody to get any ideas out there, too, Mr. Thompson. All right, anybody have any final questions or comments before we move into our pedestrian safety action plan?
Great job.
All right, great job. Thanks all very much.
Good job.
Okay, Clint.
Yep, so this will roll right into our pedestrian safety action plan update. Pedestrian safety, obviously is a top priority for council. Touches on pedestrians and mobility, our neighborhoods, touches on school zones, all of that. So, in 2020, y'all approved funding to do a citywide pedestrian, safety study, and we did that. We completed that. And out of that study came a lot of different recommendations, things that we can do just, on our streets, at our traffic signals, at our intersections. So we had a whole list of countermeasures, if you will, things that could be done to improve pedestrian safety. And then we were very successful, getting some state funding to kickstart that project. One of the earliest projects we did was on Augusta Street with the road diet and some things there. But then we rolled right into some state funded projects where we had a nice surge of money that we could kind of go through and hit a lot of our major corridors and our school zones. So made a lot of progress, over the last couple of years. We've just recently completed the second phase. Nick's going to talk through some of the highlights and stats of that. But there's still more work to be done. We're not complete by any means, but as we go into future funding years and as we look for other funding opportunities through grants, but the pedestrian safety action plan will continue to be something we focus on from an engineering standpoint. So that, I'll let Nick share some updates for you. Thank you, Nick.
So there's another project that I've been working on for a while. So to give everybody an idea, basically what we've been talking about with the NIV and what we're talking about with ped safety, I was looking at the projects that we worked on over the last year and what's been in engineering. They basically account for less than half of the projects we're working on. So we're showing you a lot and we're throwing a lot at you, but this is 38 of the 80 capital projects that our team has. And so this one is one of our more important ones. It came from state earmark funding. And it came from a list of that safety study that prioritized every high volume area that PEDs would likely be, where your most vulnerable people would be. So school zones, where the kids walk into school, where the teachers walk in. And prioritized them and told us, okay, these are the areas in your target and this is how you need to account for them. So our team, my small team is basically me, Greg, and Dakota. And I think between the three of them, we walked, we drove, we went to all of these corridors and all of these school zones and said, okay, what can we do? So phase 1 and phase 2 of the implementation are kind of what we're showing up here. So every school zone has been touched and all of those major corridors. So Academy, Washington, Pete Hollis, Mills, Lawrence, Pleasantburg, Augusta, all the main ones that you normally hear. They've been touched in some way. So 650 new ped ramps, new sidewalk repairs. We focus mostly on repairs. Where is it mostly broken up and inaccessible? And then 680 new crosswalks and new RFB crossing. So that RFB is actually at Washington and Irvine. So that's push the button, it flashes and everybody lets you cross. So that is a lot of work that was done over 2 phases and just basically a year, maybe a year and a half of time. So it was put out relatively quickly. We knew with the earmark funds, we had to get it out the door. And we're wrapping up. We just wrapped up phase 2 now. So this is what some of the improvements will look like from our drone footage, which is also another thing that Greg's been working on, doing really good job for us. So this one on the left is actually right outside the post office. There's a few new crosswalks out there on Washington that are actually really big for that neighborhood, both getting to Unity Park, but also accessing this post office. So just when we were out there trying to shoot some footage, saw maybe 30 people use that crosswalk just to get to the post office in just like maybe 30 minutes. So you think about how many people are using some of these.
What was the one on the right? I'm sorry.
So that is
Where are
actually at Pete Hollis.
Mhm.
So, correct. And that was very hairy to walk across. The crosswalks weren't painted and those crosswalks really do a lot when you're in a vehicle and you're driving down the corridor and you see those things come up. They're hard to miss. And so it really lets you know that somebody is likely to be walking across or in that crosswalk at the time.
So we've had a lot of pedestrian problems in that section.
Right.
Mhm.
So this one on the bottom left is actually Washington Irvine that I was mentioning before with the new push buttons. This is the top pictures, Washington, getting you to, Unity Park. And this one on the right, is actually some new sidewalk and new railing on Mills Avenue. We actually got a call from, the maintenance engineer at DOT that, an elderly gentleman actually had fallen down that slope and almost ended up in the creek. And so just asked what we could do. So we went out, we repaired the sidewalk and we added this rail so that something like that can't happen. That was-
Is there any hope for getting artistic crosswalks?
Like
Uh,
murals or something like that?
We have been having
Like
those
piano
conversations,
keys and,
that's probably-
well, I know.
That's up, we can follow that up with you on that. We've been having some conversations. on that.
Okay, especially in the village.
Right.
It's funny.
Councilmember Workin and then Councilmember Dow.
I was like, just want to say big thanks. You know, one thing that we don't think about, I know y'all think about, and maybe y'all do too, but, is, maybe I'm the last one. The number of people that come to me and us and ask us for sidewalk repair, not for aesthetics or for strollers, but for disabled individuals who perhaps may not have a good gait as they walk and don't get those feet up. And so I can't tell you how many, just for example, we've got some Alzheimer's folks in our neighborhood that we've talked to y'all and gratefully came out and repaired those sides. Because they're important for lots of reasons. And so appreciate all y'all's work. Thank you.
Councilmember Dow?
I think I should have asked this in the TMC. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to?
Yes,
circle back?
yes.
We had an issue with some signals, I can't remember exactly what it was, Pete House area, connectivity of the Blue Toads there to the TMC. Did that get rectified?
Yes.
Okay, so we're fully reading every intersection in the city at this point.
Mostly, yes.
Fully and mostly.
We do have one intersection that was rebuilt by DOT.
Okay.
so
But it's coming.
It's absolutely.
It's coming.
There needs to be a reevaluation.
They're finishing up construction there.
Sure, this might have been a Helene incident. I can't remember.
No, it was it's a new townhome development contractor hit our fiber twice. So we had worked with them to get those repairs.
The Helena incident you're talking about was Academy, and that has been
Okay,
fixed, yes.
okay, great. Thank you.
Have y'all evaluated when you turn off Rutherford Road to, Mulberry? Well, your Mulberry, right there is a hole. Lovely hole. And, so you'll probably have to look at it again, but it just seems like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But it's a little hole.
Uh-oh.
And that's where we had a lot of
Like
elderly
where Pete
people.
Hollis hits Mulberry, is that right?
No,
Rutherford.
oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, okay, Pete Hollis goes right when you get to it,
Okay.
when you turn off Rutherford Road to the
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
at the, whatever that little building is right there.
Okay.
Check that, yeah, that's something that's just been visible for the last 30 days.
Okay.
Other questions or comments for our engineering team? Greg and Dakota, thank you for being here too.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys very much. We appreciate everything that you all are doing. So let's give them a round of applause. All right, Mr. Mayor, that is all we have in our work session agenda or on our work session agenda today before we go into executive session.
When we get a motion to executive.
So.
Second.
Four items to discuss.
I'm worried about your boy.
I know, right? I'm worried about it.
70, 1, 2, and 5, and or 5, these guys federal grant agreements, agreements for house property purchase,
Thanks, Glenn.
entertainment district overlay, advice on that, and then an employment map for subsection 1.
Okay, good deal.
Good on services.
Let's talk about that. Thank you.